Progress on Manny Oyeleka. He's had clearly some more time in training. How's he looking?
Yeah, very good. He hasn't missed a day's training now for coming up to 2 weeks, which is great for Manny. It's great for us. It's great for his fitness levels. I think everyone knows what a good player he is. But he's had a really interrupted season with breakdowns and, a recurring calf problem now. We don't want to keep putting him in for him to come out. So if we can manage him back to what would be their full fitness, the reality is it'll be a strong addition for the running.
And how important is that? Because clearly there's always a clamour from fans for big players to come back in straight away. But it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Manage him, get him right, rather than taking a step back every time.
I don't think there's much sense in football anymore, is there? I think the days of sense have well gone out the window now, guys, that's for sure. As a manager who I'd like to think I'm a little bit experienced now, the loss to Grimsby was a really tough one to take for us all. That's football. But it's not the loss to Grimsby that counts, it's how you react to it. It's what your pathway from there says. And the lads bounced back with a great win at Wealdstone on Saturday, a difficult place to go. And that showed the character of the squad. For us, we need all our good players back fit and available, like every team does. But certainly for me as a manager, I'm not really into risking players. I always try and see a bigger picture, albeit we do have one eye on the fact that we are trying to get in a playoff situation. We are trying to finish as high as we can, and we also want to be promoted. So it's actually managing all them expectations.
Rowe, Tyson and Kroll, how far along are those three? I think they were the three that were kind of nearest.
Rowe, Tyson and Kroll, you've caught me out there. Danny Rowe's obviously returned to training now. I think he's stepped up his training now this week. I think he's going to go into his second day this week today. So Danny's progressing really, really well. We're all delighted with that. Tyson's been training now for possibly coming up for well over a week, coming into his second week. And Crowley would be still a little bit far away, if I be truthful.
Is there anyone else nearing a return?
Not really. I think that's where we're at. I think the numbers for training have been very good, latterly, which is great. I think when we were probably a month or so gone back, the team was just picking itself. And I think our supporters appreciated that. Now all of a sudden we do have options, as we've seen in the Wealdstone team that was picked. So for us now, the challenge is to get as many points as we can, and there'll still be twists and turns along the way in terms of final league positions. We just want to do our best to finish as high as we can.
Because having Tom Denton and Gavin Gunning making their first starts in such a while is a huge boost to you, isn't it, to have that experience back around?
Well, they're both men, aren't they? And if you looked at our performance against Grimsby, we lacked men on the pitch. So the reality for you, being able to pick men helps you pick teams. But it's been a real challenging couple of months for the lads in general because of the amount of injuries. That's clearing now. And that's a real positive for our supporters. Going forward, we've got lads returning to help the fight. And that's important that I, as the manager, and the rest of the coaching staff just manage them the correct way.
How important was it to show that big response at Wealdstone after Grimsby?
Again, guys, if we'd have lost at Wealdstone or we'd have drew, the season doesn't end there, does it? But in football today, every result is so magnified at every football club. And for me, there's always been a bigger picture. It's a long race. Come the end of the season, the league table doesn't tell any lies. We'll all speak about, and certainly at Chesterfield, we'll speak about the big losses of Danny Rowe and Cabango, them type of players. But that's football. That's sent to test us. The reality is we've got an objective, which is to try and be promoted, and we're on course to try and complete that.
You made the switch to a back three. Is that something we're likely to see continue, or could we see you mix and match depending on games, etc.?
Well, try and be as honest as I can to our supporters, and with the selection or the injuries we've had, probably not knowing our best team has been the truth. We've probably lacked goals, if you like, in certain games. We haven't had enough people scoring goals, and defensively at times we've looked a bit vulnerable. So we've probably looked bad at both ends of the pitch, haven't we, really? So the challenge for me, was getting to know the players. I feel I know all the group now, and I can only tell our supporters they're a really, really good set of lads to work with. They really, really are. They're very committed, they're very honest, and we've got qualities. For me as a manager, trying to find that right blend of team is so important, and I think that's something that we're still searching for today.
So do you feel then, having seen them for a while, that 3 is probably the best way to go for now?
Well, you'll always react, to a result. When we were playing 4-3-3, we went 6 games unbeaten. Our first defeat was at Altrincham. So we'd won 3 and drew 3. Within them 3 draws, we conceded 2 last-minute goals. But I still didn't enjoy watching the team. So as a manager, I think when you can enjoy watching your team, the reality is you probably found your best formation stroke personnel. For us, that search just goes on. If you're continually chopping and changing your team, the reality is you're not going to know your best team. And one of the things for me that I think I'm quite strong-minded with, I won't let results dictate that. I'd rather let performances. And if you've seen our performance against Grimsby, the reality is for our supporters, the team had to change. But it was the same team that had gone to Notts County the week before and played ever so well. So that's the challenge for management.
So did you enjoy watching your team
No,
last time?
no, not particularly. I don't enjoy us hanging on to 1-goal victories. My time back here, we've only won by a goal in games. The last 10 minutes of games become very, very nervy. I'm a supporter like everyone else. When Wealdstone have a free kick in the 89th minute, we're all looking at the floor, aren't we? So the truth is we're searching for something at the minute. But one thing we know, we've got a fantastic football club, we've got great support, and we've got a great set of players. So the truth is, if we can stay together like we are, the reality is we don't know what we can achieve.
Joe Quigley, of course, got his first goal. Just how big a boost psychologically for him is that going to be?
Just great for the club, great for the team, great for Denton. Denton come on and he's a fan's favourite and done really well. Joe Quigley's got a lot of really good qualities. For a lone striker, or most teams play with one up top now, Joe's got all the qualities needed. The biggest problem for Joe has been the lack of goals. And on Saturday, his finish into the Chesterfield supporters was great for both. It was great for the supporters to see Joe with that talent, and it was great for Joe to deliver for them. So hopefully now they can start a relationship that we all need, where they get behind him, and Joe gives them what they seen on Saturday to make them want to support him.
You've clearly seen plenty of seasons now, plenty of strikers who've gone on runs. Is this an opportunity now? Can you see that Joe potentially goes on and scores 2, 3, 4?
Well, when you lack goals, everyone comes under pressure. It's football. What I do know is that Joe works very, very hard every day. And like we've been telling, we need to see a little bit more aggression. And I think you're seeing the aggression in his finish. We're not on about aggression in the wrong ways. We're on about aggression in the right ways, which is his running, his closing down, his shooting. And his goal on Saturday would have been a great confidence booster for everyone.
It's strange to have only one fixture to look forward to over the Easter weekend. Traditionally, it's a busy weekend.
Yeah,
you can't wait until the end of Monday.
Yeah, it is. But luckily I can go and watch Halifax tomorrow. At Altrincham, which is great. The other lads, I think Gary Roberts is going over to Wrexham, Solihull. Webby's going to watch Grimsby, Stockport. So it's a really good day for us in terms of watching opposition and fact finding. So the work doesn't stop. But we're really looking forward to the game at Halifax on Monday. It's a really good game.
Your views on them? Clearly they've had a really good run of late.
Outstanding season. Obviously manager's done really well at the club. His achievements there are excellent. His team are obviously a very, very good side. You don't amass the points they've amassed. They've got a lot of talented players, and it'll be a really tough test for us. But what we hope all the time is that it'll be a tough test for Halifax as well.
Are these the kind of games that you look forward to, that you want to be in football for at the business end of the season?
It's great. It is good. Football is for supporters. It's excitement. It's looking forward to the game. We'll travel across in great numbers like Chesterfield fans always do. The support from our support is committed as ever. It's always very, very strong no matter where we play. And all they want to see us give them a performance that, they can applaud us off the pitch. It doesn't mean we'll win the game, but it means we've given everything that we've got in pursuit of winning the game.
You've got the best home record in the division. Is this as tough a challenge as you can expect right now?
Yeah, every challenge is tough. We've just come away from Wealdstone. We played Maidenhead at home the other week and won 1-0, and we only scored on 75 minutes. It's the more I watch the league, the more I find out about the league. There's no easy games. There's no walkovers. Every game's tough. Teams are well coached. The education in football for young coaches and managers there for everyone to see. So it'll be a very, very tough game.
You've clearly been in playoff situations before, Paul, and been in this situation. How important is some momentum now to build on that Wealdstone game going into those playoffs?
Again, guys, everyone looks for an edge and a factor. Do you know, and the brutal reality is if we do get in the playoffs, we'll go into a knockout situation that luck will play a part. The moments in games play massive parts. Referees' decisions will play a massive part. So that's pages ahead in the book. At the minute, we've got to concentrate on the here and now. The here and now is Halifax on Monday and doing our best to try and take 3 points that would see us go into a very strong position.
Just a couple more from me, Paul. Last night, great to see the kind of photos and scenes of the 25 years on from the FA Cup semi-final. I mean, just for a club, how important are events like that to recognise, key moments in history and bring everyone together?
Unbelievable. Every football club's got a history, and that's what we all clamour and search for. The biggest clubs in the country have the most history, but every football club's got something, and the majority of clubs like ourselves will always look back to them historical moments with great pride and great joy. So getting the lads together like they did last night is a great night, and it's a great night for the lads, I've got to tell you, because they catch up with each other, and that dressing room banter that they had 25 years ago, I'm sure was bouncing last night.
Are they the kind of events that you look forward to, when you can catch up with teams of yesteryear and people you're not
great,
seeing
isn't
for a
it?
while?
It's great. We all seem to put on a bit more weight, lose a lot of hair, and all just look older, don't we? But that's what time does to us all. But one thing for sure, the wit of players never leaves them. And I'm sure last night the lads had a great night alongside the supporters. And as I say, that's great for Chesterfield Football Club.
Brilliant, Paul. Good luck on Monday.
Thank you.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
In terms of getting more goals into the team, how can you go about doing that now? Obviously, you can't sign any players. How do you do that from within?
You just keep working. It's repetition, isn't it? Do you know, the majority of teams, you have on a Saturday afternoon in most divisions, the same lads score goals. That's what builds up goal scorers and goal scoring records. It's something we're harping on to our players about now, that the reality is you've got to go in the penalty box more, you've got to have more shots, you've got to make things happen. And probably for the teams we've been picking latterly, there hasn't been enough goals in the team. And the reality is if you're not going to score goals, you won't win games. So it's something that we must work hard together at to get over the line with. Obviously a lot of our goals have been sitting in the treatment room and the stand. And if you take them goals out of any team, you go and take Palmer and Mullen out of Wrexham's team today and go and see how Wrexham get on over the next 10 games. The reality is it's not as easy as people think.
I'm talking of Kabongo Shimanga. How's he progressing?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's a pleasure around the club. I've just left him this morning. He's out of his boot. He's walking. Hopefully in the next week or two, he's going to start his rehab in terms of running on the grass. And I think that would be something the most optimistic Chesterfield fan could hope for, is that he could be back to help us this season at some point if we stayed successful. So it's something that we can all cling on to with really, really great hope.
And that must give yourself and the players, his teammates, a real psychological boost, knowing that someone like that is, waiting in the wings potentially.
Oh, that's football, but don't forget we've got a lot of other lads injured as well. And we want everyone back fit to help us. Our squad has been decimated with injuries. And that's really tough on our supporters because, as we all know, in the modern day game, supporters, and when we get beat, people can be very critical nowadays. But I'd expect Chesterfield fans to have a little bit more knowledge of the club and what goes on within our club to be that critical. And that's why supporting your team is so important. We need our best players back. Every team needs their best players on a football pitch. It doesn't matter who you are.
And at Wealdstone, you spoke about decision making and trying to improve that. That feels quite a hard thing to improve. How do you go about sorting that out as well?
I can't. It's up to the players to sort that out. I can't make the decisions for them. I can't hold their hand on a pitch. But if you see in the game at Wealdstone, for example, decision making happens from the first minute to the last minute. And it's not just decisions in like where you think aren't important. For example, Wealdstone's goal was caused by a breakdown in our shape. And they're the little things that we can affect. Don't get caught up in the moments in the game. It's continuation and being mentally strong in a game. And it's something that we're working hard with the players on every day. Because hopefully in my job and the staff's job is to improve us. And at the minute, we've got to keep going, keep believing, and that decision-making process in matches can help you win games.
And do you think that decision-making will probably come with some more confidence and just a couple more wins as we go along?
Again, we're on 70 points, so I don't know how many wins you won in the season, but we've had a lot of wins this year. I know I mightn't have been the manager, mate, but they've had a lot of wins. So if you think we lack confidence, there's something wrong with you. We don't lack confidence. We don't lack anything. We're on 70 points. If we can win a few more games, we could end up finishing on 85, 86. I call that a fantastic season. You might call it something different than me, but that's your choice.
No, not at all. It has been a fantastic season. Do you still think there's a chance of, well, more than a chance of, if you win at Halifax, the top three is still very much a possibility? It's not just consolidating a place between fourth and seventh.
Top three is very much a possibility, and that's our target, 100%. That is our target without a shadow of doubt. You know, to finish in the top three gives you one game at home, which everyone craves for. We know what one game at home would bring here with our support at home. It'd be a great night. And beating Halifax will help us go a long way. But we also know that Halifax, Wrexham, Solihull, they're all very good teams. So we're not under any illusions of how difficult it'll be. But to win that, to achieve that place with 6 games to go, how many games would we have to win? You can only start by winning one on Monday.